You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
We think we're moving into a new era, and we would like to be on the front edge of that new era. Should be on the front edge of protecting it and preserving it. We should be leading by example.
Never mind what's happening in Washington. Top experts say sea level rise and climate change are threatening the Suncoast. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC7 at 7. We'll have more on an environmental conference in Sarasota, but first, our top 7 stories at 7. The obvious questions: whose body has just been found near Newtown, and how did they die? We begin tonight with the Sarasota Police Department on the scene. According to police, children found human remains on Gillespie Avenue. ABC7's Rick Adams joins us live with the details. Rick.
Yeah, Alan, at this time we know very few details. What we do know is that human remains were found back in a ditch area, in that area back there. They were discovered around 4:30 this afternoon in the 1900 block of Gillespie Avenue. Many are wondering, could it be Jabez Spann, who disappeared from this area back in September?
The disappearance of Jabez Spann is something that's on the forefront of our officers' minds at this point. However, they know that it's too early to tell at this point if these human remains, what we believe to be human remains, belong to Jabez Spann. It's unknown if it's an adult or if it's in a child, but I can tell you that every member of the Sarasota Police Department is going to work as quickly and as diligently as possible to determine exactly who these belong to.
And the medical examiner did arrive on the scene just recently. As soon as we find out more details as to what's going on here, we'll certainly pass that along to you. We'll have a lot more on this coming up tonight at 11 o'clock. Reporting live from Sarasota, I'm Rick Adams. Alan, back to you.
Thank you, Rick. A jury has reached a verdict in the 2017 murder in Northport. In September 22nd, 22-year-old Jaquez Rivers was found dead at a home on Roxbury Circle. Detectives say Rivers and Marquis Harris, who lived across the street, got into a fight over a burglary and drugs. Then Harris allegedly pistol whipped Rivers and shot him in the head. Harris was found guilty of manslaughter. His sentencing is set for July. Weeks after Governor Rick Scott signed legislation limiting the number of opioid prescriptions, an effort is underway to get the federal government to do more. The Opioid Emergency Response Act is a combination of 7 different bills. If passed, it will reduce opioid use among Medicare patients and will stop drugs like fentanyl and carfentanil from coming into the country by requiring more intense screenings by the U.S. Postal Service.
Everybody says we're not putting enough resources in it compared to the challenge and the problem that it is. This is about $3.5 billion. I think it's very substantial. We've done some funding in the past, but we need to go to this level to get it done.
Buchanan will introduce a bill this week in the U.S. House. TSA discovering 3 loaded firearms in 2 separate incidents at Tampa International Airport today. Agents report a loaded .40 caliber handgun was found in a passenger's carry-on bag. Less than 2 hours later, a loaded handgun was discovered in a different passenger's carry-on bag. So far this year, TSA officers at Tampa International Airport have found 24 firearms at security checkpoints and a total of 97 all of last year. Sarasota Bradenton International Airport just recently welcomed Allegiant as a low-budget airline flying to cities in the Midwest. Now a report on 60 Minutes blasts the safety record of Allegiant. One Sarasota resident has a flight on Allegiant leaving from SRQ in less than a month, but after seeing the report and conducting his own research, he is having second thoughts.
I was quite alarmed. I don't live in fear, and I'm not a naysayer, but boy, you know, this really has me thinking. So.
The CEO of Sarasota Bradenton International Airport, Rick Piccolo, says he looks to the FAA to oversee and enforce any issues it has with the airlines. Now to a local story that made headlines across the country. Today, students protested Braden River High School's dress code policy with what they called a bra cot. It's a protest spearheaded by 17-year-old Lizzie Martinez, who was told she was being a distraction for not wearing a bra. She called on female students to leave their bras at home and male students to place bandages over their shirts.
You can say anything's distracting because it's just like a very broad term. So I think that that's why they put it back on dress code, because they realized that what they did with me moving around and putting band-aids over my nipples was completely inappropriate.
The school said it would abide by the dress code policy and wanted to limit disruptions with protests and demonstrations like the one today. Florida's Constitution Revision Commission had a lengthy debate about whether proposed constitutional amendments should have several ideas tied into a single amendment or whether the plan should be unbundled. This would effectively require each issue to be voted on separately. One of the dozen proposals lumped together is a ban on vaping with a ban on offshore drilling. Another puts school board term limits in the same proposed amendment as civic literacy and charter school oversight.
Are we supposed to set up a system where we bundle things that we know the citizens aren't going to understand substantially and then have them vote on it? And I believe that that's not what we're supposed to do.
Voters are very discerning when they go through their ballots. They show up, they do their job, and they regularly come to conclusions which are accepted by all.
All proposals given final approval by the Constitution Revision Commission this week must also be supported by more than 60% of Florida voters in this year's November general election. Now let's head over to ABC7's chief meteorologist Bob Harrigan with the first alert forecast. Bob.
Well, the Van Wezel webcam showing lots of clear skies out there today, but the sea condition, we've had advisories all day long. Those will subside later on tonight. We're looking for generally fair skies overnight. It will be a rather cool night. 67 right now. Dew point is at 51. That's low for this time of year. Here's some low temperatures anticipated in the low 50s, even some upper 40s well inland in places like Arcadia, Wauchula, and Highlands County. We'll get into the upper 40s there. 53 at Osprey. Venice, you'll be at 56 to start things off. That's well below average. In fact, about 10 degrees below what it normally is for this time of year, and that's due to that front that moved through yesterday, bringing with it some much-needed rainfall here across the Sun Coast. As I mentioned, those warnings are still out there. Small craft advisory in effect, a high surf advisory in effect until 8 o'clock tonight. And then sustained winds generally now out of the west-northwest, anywhere from 10 to 15 miles an hour from Parrish to Ellington, Palmetto, Bradenton, and Anna Maria. And then down south into Venice, they're out of the west-northwest at 13, Northport out of the west at 12 miles an hour. Forecast winds not as windy tomorrow. Those winds will abate somewhat, so we'll get them down below around 10 miles an hour, I think, by the midday, and they'll be out of the northeast. It'll have a tendency to warm us up after a pretty chilly start. We'll see low temperatures, as I said, well below seasonal averages tomorrow, and then things pick up on Wednesday. Well, we'll talk a little later about the snow falling over parts of the Great Lakes and another snowstorm out west, bringing some heavy snow into the Sierra Nevada range. More on our forecast coming up in a little bit. Alan?
Bob, thanks a lot. Still to come, global warming, climate change. What can we expect from an environmental symposium taking place on the Suncoast tomorrow?
ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you. Watch ABC7 wherever you are, on our live stream, on mysuncoast.com, on the ABC7 My Suncoast app, powered by the Eye Associates, providing sight for life, featuring traffic maps and live radar, dining with recipes, and My Suncoast Restaurant Guide. Visit mysuncoast.com. Click on the Apps tab to download the ABC7 My Suncoast app for Apple and Android.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call, and you cannot be turned down for any reason. Even if you have health problems or are living on a fixed income, guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance policies could work for you, with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. TrueStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
My mom didn't have life insurance and the cost all fell on me. And that's expensive. We're still paying for that.
Yeah, we're still paying for that.
Call 1-800-218-4991. Now, in one phone call, you can help prepare your family with protection amounts up to $25,000. There are no medical tests or health questions. And remember, you cannot be turned down for any reason. In fact, TruStage policies are already protecting over 18 million Americans. And rates are designed to be affordable, starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease.
When I leave, everything will be taken care of for them.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now for a free, no-obligation quote. TruStage offers plans to fit your budget with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-218-4991 now.
Keep up with the Suncoast. Watch your favorite ABC7 shows on your streaming device.
According to the University of Florida, few places in the United States will be more affected by climate change than Florida. And guess what part of Florida stands to be impacted the most? The Suncoast. ABC7's Dwayne Lindo joins us with more. Dwayne.
Well, Alan, the experts we spoke with say the message is pretty clear. The issue of climate change has to be addressed now in the city in an effort to slow harmful effects. When it comes to helping the environment, Deanie Bergbrider believes much of Sarasota is being complacent, but she says her place is on the front lines.
Because I'm in the community, it's really important that that I can use my voice to help make change in that area.
And that change consists of roof solar panels on her home and a new community composting program in North Sarasota.
And we've diverted 1,500 pounds of garbage, mostly, kitchen scraps, from the landfills. You can get a little bucket and get your little scraps and bring them to the community composting, and then once it composts down, you can come back and actually get the compost to use in your garden.
And not only is Bergbrider doing what she can, but Sarasota is preparing for environmental changes in the city as well, by way of the Climate Adaptation Plan. City Manager Tom Barwin says solidifying infrastructure is only part of the plan.
Yet we're softening at the same time our impact on the environment by trying to lessen those influences that are causing the sea level to rise and for the temperatures to continue to get warmer and warmer.
With solar being of the utmost priority.
So we put very little carbon in the air by electric cars, hybrid cars, pedal power, foot power, whatever we can think of and innovate to bring our contribution to the negative parts of climate change.
A climate change that Barwin says is affecting the Suncoast, with Sarasota Bay rising 7 inches in the past 70 years, going on to say that the level at which it's rising is rapidly increasing.
To where we're going to see a 12 to 18 inch rise by 2050. So if we want to minimize that potential, the city of Sarasota and as many cities and communities, states and countries around the world need to get very serious about softening the impact of climate change.
In addition, the city found there will be a major threat of extreme precipitation and extreme heat.
Florida is on the front line of global warming.
Professor of Conservation Ecology at Duke University, Stuart Pym, conducts research in the state of Florida, points to the dependence of fossil fuels that continue to deteriorate the ozone.
It's carbon emissions from burning oil and gas and coal that drive global warming.
Pym feels Florida and much of the Suncoast will experience major problems in the future if no one takes action.
If we keep on dumping carbon dioxide into the atmosphere at the rate we're doing, we know that the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is going up. When it goes up, the temperature goes up.
The city addressing the concern and impact in a climate change symposium this week.
There's a lot of individual choices that we can make that are going to ensure that living in the beautiful state that we do, that we can have a rich life and one that we can hand a beautiful planet to our children and grandchildren.
We think we're moving into a new era, and we would like to be on the front edge of that new era. We enjoy the beauty, we enjoy nature, that's why so many people are here. We should be on the front edge of protecting it and preserving it. We should be leading by example.
Now, this symposium is all part of an educational campaign informing residents in the city.
Dwayne, thank you. Coming up, outstanding experts at an outstanding shaped table that we call the trapezoid.
the La Musica International Chamber Music Festival, the annual celebration of a distinctive cultural gem in Sarasota, with renowned musicians from around the world. April 9th through April 18th at the Sarasota Opera House. Visit lamusicafestival.org, click on Festival, open tickets, and get your seats now.
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
When money's tight and emergencies arise, CashNetUSA.com is available 24/7 to deliver quick loans for approved customers when they need it the most.
Apply now at CashNetUSA.com.
Money's on the way with CashNet USA.
Don't miss Southwest Florida's largest barbecue and bluegrass event at the Venice Airport Festival grounds. Taste genuine competition barbecue and listen to award-winning bluegrass entertainment. Join us for a finger-licking and hot-picking good time. Free admission and parking. Go to suncoastbbqbash.com for details.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
A star of the Sarasota Film Festival joins us right here in our studio. I'm Stephanie Roberts on Suncoast View. John Heder, best known as Napoleon Dynamite, is here to talk about his new film premiering right here on the Suncoast. Gulf Coast Medical Group joins us to tell us what we need to know about better fighting Suncoast obesity. Plus, mommy must-haves with one of our favorite moms and news at the Ringling.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
Everyone's buzzing about Suncoast View.
I like watching the Suncoast View.
I like the Suncoast View.
The cooking segments, I love the recipes. The theater segments are terrific.
They're just fun.
For smart, fun talk in the afternoon, watch Suncoast View, weekdays at 4 on ABC7.
Welcome back. Some folks remain skeptical about climate change, but not at Sarasota City Hall. With Sarasota Bay rising 7 inches in 70 years, the city is doing everything it can to reinforce infrastructure and make sure it does everything it can to limit carbon put into the atmosphere. This week, a symposium is being held in Sarasota, Climate in Crisis. And joining us for more are Dr. Stuart Pym, an ecologist at Duke University, Dick Russell, author of The Horsemen of the Apocalypse, a story in the book about climate change, and Frank Alcock, a political science professor at New College. Thank you all for joining us. And Stuart, I'm going to start with you because when we talk about climate change here on the Suncoast and throughout Florida and how it will affect us all, sometimes people can't relate to what they can't experience and see, unlike Alton Road in Miami Beach, which floods every time there's a drizzle. Am I correct?
Yes, but you know, as somebody who lives in Florida part of the year, I have a home in Key Largo, I know about global warming because my insurance company tells me so. I get insurance premiums that are going up and up and up because the private sector understands that the risks with a warming climate are going to lead to a greater frequency of major storms like the one we had in the fall, and they want to get their money back. And so I think people in Florida know full well that the climate is changing, and if they don't, I wish I knew what their insurance company was.
Yeah, exactly. Dick, I want to hold this book up again because I don't know if we got a good shot of it before. Horsemen of the Apocalypse, the men who are destroying life on Earth and what it means for our children. And by that, I take it you're making reference to some of the big corporations out there that pollute a lot and don't necessarily take responsibility for what they're doing.
Exactly, and naming names, looking at the individuals who run those corporations. I finished the book before the 2016 election, so it was, I didn't expect it to be semi-prophetic because I profiled, for example, Rex Tillerson, who became Secretary of State. He was the CEO of ExxonMobil, and got into things like the fact that ExxonMobil, their own scientists knew, and we're talking about research that they had done 40 years ago, that showed we'd better do something and start doing it quickly about the impacts of climate change.
So, I mean, I want to get into this more later, but my impression was that Rex Tillerson, even though he was with ExxonMobil, was basically on the forefront of saying take climate change seriously.
You know, he equivocated a lot. I mean, I wouldn't say he was on the forefront of that. More so than the Koch brothers, I would say.
He was opposed to leaving the Paris Climate Agreement, though. That's what was reported.
Yes, he was. Once he got in that position, he wanted us to stay in the Paris Climate Accord, which President Trump, of course, pulled out of.
Frank, correct me if I'm wrong, you recently went to a conference in California where the issue of what people believe and don't believe about climate change was really center stage there because it has become so incredibly politicized in our country.
Yeah, it was center stage to the paper that I wrote, the panel that I was on. It was a very, very big conference with lots of topics. But it's an issue that we as a country have moved in the wrong direction, I would add, a lot in the last decade, actually. The polarization that we're witnessing now on this issue just wasn't there 10, 15, 20 years ago. But we've seen broader polarization trends on a number of political issues in this country, and there's been a deliberate effort of folks on the right, again, to question the science and to hold a number of politicians that are running for Republican seats accountable if they support anything. So you've seen a shift, a cooling effect or a chilling effect on a number of moderate Republicans that otherwise would probably support some action on climate change.
Not a warming effect.
But yeah.
All right, stand by. We are just getting warmed up. We'll have much more on climate change on the Suncoast right after we check the first alert weather. Stay with us.
Set your course for a waterfront lifestyle on Florida's last private island. Discover one particular harbor by Margaritaville. Nearby sugar sand beaches are as easy to find as the warm Florida sunshine. Waterfront residences from the high 400s overlook beautiful Anna Maria Sound. And a new marina with direct access to the Gulf of Mexico. Plus, incredible savings on move-in ready homes. Come tour designer models today. Visit ophmintousa.com now.
When you are home alone, an emergency can become a tragedy. However, with any of Life Alert's 3 emergency systems, help can be summoned immediately, whether in the bathroom,
I've fallen in the shower.
at home,
Help! I've fallen and I can't get up.
and on the go.
Help! I've fallen in the park and I can't get up.
Don't worry, help is on the way.
Life Alert saves a life every 11 minutes.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-518-0221. That's 1-800-518-0221. Call now, 1-800-518-0221. For a free brochure, call 1-800-518-0221.
Want the latest weather and traffic conditions wherever you go? Introducing ABC7's revolutionary new First Alert weather app. With our state-of-the-art new weather app, you get up-to-the-minute weather alerts, interactive radar maps, current conditions, 10-day forecasts, real-time traffic maps, and weather video from ABC7, all at your fingertips. And it's free. Just search Suncoast WX in the App Store and download onto all your devices today. Sponsored by Mr. Sparky.
Designers do it with style.
Tell me what's going on here.
Why, you don't like my hair? The Mark and Mandy Show. In-depth design ideas.
What is up with the tuck tape here? Let's cover it up.
Amazing beauty and fashion tips.
So Halle Berry has amazing skin. Her secret is coffee grounds. No.
Delicious recipes.
Today, I'm gonna show you a special dish that is sure to please that special someone in your life.
Watch the Mark and Mandy Show right here on your favorite channel.
Now your ABC7 First Alert weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Well, the man waves a webcam showing those high waves there throughout the afternoon. The small craft advisories have been flying, but Those will relax tomorrow as the winds calm down, and looks like we'll see lots of sunshine in the forecast for Tuesday. But I want to share what happened yesterday. We had a waterspout and tornadoes. You can see at one point Anna Maria had a tornado warning just shortly after 2:30, and you can see that line right there. This is the shear tracks. That did produce a tornado. In fact, we started detecting the rotation well before it actually came down to the surface, and then it developed into a tornado, did some damage there, and also a waterspout right near the Sunshine Skyway Bridge shortly after 3:15, moving off to the northeast there. These are all the different storm reports. This one here was the waterspout near Egmont Key, and then we had another one, tornado actually, in southern portions of Pinellas County. So we just missed that line just by about 10 to 15 miles. A large tree down on a house there, and then it turned into another waterspout just to the south of MacDill Air Force Base, pushing off to the northeast. In Venice, 64-mile-an-hour wind there recorded shortly after 4:20, and you can see right there the 64-mile-an-hour wind did cause some damage to the Shark's Tooth Festival, all the tents there that were set up, and luckily all that weather now out of here. We still have the advisories up, but those are going to expire here shortly, I do believe. Everyone had some rainfall across our viewing area, some more than others. You can see Venice, not as much, 2/10 at least estimated by the Doppler radar site. Parrish had nearly an inch, 6/10 of an inch out there at Anna Maria Island. Well, here are the weather headlines that read like this. Chilly start to our day on Tuesday. We'll warm up on Wednesday. We'll get back into the low 80s for highs then. Highs tomorrow only in the upper 70s, and then by late Sunday and into early Monday, we have another cold front due to arrive. That'll be our next chance for some showers and some storms around. It looks like right now too early to tell if they're going to be strong at this point, but lately the two fronts that have moved down recently have produced some pretty big storms, so we'll watch that closely as we head into the weekend. We're expecting temperatures to be in the low to mid 70s by the afternoon hour. Notice plenty of sunshine around, though. We'll see that definitely throughout the rest of this work week as a result of a large area of high pressure, which will dominate our weather. And as far as the current conditions go, we have 67 degrees. Feels a little bit cooler out there, though, due to that wind out of the west-northwest now at 13 miles an hour at the airport. The high today did manage only to get to 69 degrees, and our average high is at 81. Well, dew point temperatures are coming up a little bit, but still well below what they normally be this time of year. Typical dew point this time of year right around 65 degrees. We're at 51. And that tells us how chilly things are going to get overnight. And when they're down into the low 50s, you can bet we're going to see that. Here's that upper level low. Winter weather being felt all the way down into Tennessee tonight. Snow falling in Michigan, also into Wisconsin. And freezing rain into Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. All that kind of pinwheeling around an upper level low. That's the same low that brought us the cold front on Sunday. And then another storm system moving into California. You can see all that moisture moving onshore into California, into Washington and Oregon. For boaters, tomorrow it gets a little bit better. Winds out of the north at 5 to 10 knots. Sea state will still be up due to the residual effect of the strong winds we had today. Now, as far as the forecast goes, 77 for your high tomorrow. Then we warm back to average on Wednesday. Warmer still Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The clouds start to increase in advance of the next cold front. Alan will be back with his guests right after this. Stick around.
Are you a food lover, restaurant goer, or home cook? Then check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, and helpful step-by-step videos. And you'll love the restaurant guide with direct links to your favorite Suncoast eateries. Whether you're cooking in or dining out, whet your appetite with tasty tips from Chef Judy at mysuncoast.com/dining. WWSB ABC7 is an equal opportunity employer, and we're looking for qualified people to join our dynamic team. For a list of current openings and to apply online, visit www.mysuncoast.com/contact/employment. If you're a motivated team player and you want a rewarding career in a fun, fast-paced working environment, WWSB ABC7 could be the perfect fit for you. Check out our list of openings now.
We are problem solvers striving for answers. Relevancy on every platform. We are driven to create content that's compelling, engaging, where it matters. We are neighbors that care about solutions, believers in making a difference, leaders, innovating in an exciting era of multimedia, reaching to always be the gold standard in our evolving landscape. We are Raycom Media. Find your opportunity today.
CashNet USA is trusted by over 2 million customers.
Perfect. When I lean back, I trust that you will be there to catch me.
Okay, bad idea, bad idea.
Apply now at CashNetUSA.com.
Money's on the way with CashNet USA.
Northland Outdoors is about so much more than the biggest fish or the hottest hunting spots. All across the Northland, there are amazing people with incredible stories to tell. We're going to find those stories and share them with everyone.
Join us each and every week as we explore the Northland and experience some of the most exciting outdoor adventures in the country right here in our own backyard. This is Northland Outdoors.
Watch ABC7 wherever you are. Just search ABC7 on your streaming device to keep up with the Suncoast from the comfort of your couch. Download ABC7 now to watch us on TV anytime you want. ABC7, we're here for you wherever you are.
Welcome back. We're talking about climate change on the Suncoast in advance of a very important symposium taking place at the Sarasota Municipal Auditorium tomorrow starting at 4:30. We are being joined by Dr. Stuart Pym, an ecologist at Duke University, Dick Russell, the author of The Horsemen of the Apocalypse, a book about climate change, and Frank Alcock, a political science professor and environmental expert at New College. Dr. Pym, we've done so many stories about climate change here on the Suncoast, but quite often when we have people from the other side, they'll say, look, you're so sure of your science out there, but there are other scientists who believe that the sea level rise and climate change are naturally occurring phenomenon, and women don't have an impact on what's happening now.
There are people out there who think the world is flat. And that we didn't have moonline landings, it was all made up on a Hollywood set. Yes, you can conjure up people who have views that are simply untenable. There is no scientific debate at all about the major features of climate change. The temperatures are warming, almost every year is hotter than the last.
But when we get into these conversations, and I've had them here in the seat that you're sitting on, others on the other side will say, well, you know what, there was a scandal a couple of years ago where scientists were accused of faking their data, which leaves the viewing public sometimes confused.
Well, look, people are out there who are deliberately trying to muddy the waters, trying to pretend the evidence is not there. But I think everybody understands, everybody knows that the years are getting warmer and warmer and warmer. Is that fabrication? Are the data from Mauna Loa that shows that carbon dioxide is going up and up and up and up, are they somehow fabricated? No.
Frank, where is public opinion on this right now? Because it seems to me that there are a lot of people who do believe in climate change and sea level rise, they're concerned about it, but they certainly don't vote on the issue.
As I said before, it is polarized. It remains a very important issue for Democrats. For independent and moderate voters, it's certainly something that they're concerned about and somewhat receptive to the science, but a bit hesitant with respect to how much this is going to cost me if you get too far into the weeds on policy issues. For conservative Republicans and also the remnants of the Tea Party, it's actually a cause célèbre in the other direction. As you were saying, a lot of these folks just live in a different universe in terms of the information that they have, and for them, it's actually a threat that government's going to sacrifice or take over or eliminate their liberties. And so, when it comes to elections, one of the things that we see in primaries often is all Democrats will talk about, what they're going to do on the issue of climate change. On Republican primaries, sometimes they actually make fun of it. When you get to general election, everybody gets quiet. Because it's not something that usually turns an election one way or the other.
Dick, in terms of big money out there in politics, there's money on both sides, but is there a real boatload of money that is being spent during the election campaigns to actually, push voters not to vote for candidates who are concerned about this issue?
Oh yeah, I think we've seen that with the Koch brothers from Wichita, who have an empire. You know, it's the largest privately held oil and gas company in the world. They're $48 billion a piece, or the two brothers are worth, and they've been working very hard at climate denial and funding these nonprofit groups for a long, long time, pouring money into them that are basically set up to deny that climate change is a reality. So what that creates in the public is doubt, as we've been talking.
Is there a way you could quantify that?
Quantify it? What do you
mean? How effective the money that they spend in terms of basically blurring public opinion?
I don't know, you know, if you can quantify it. I mean, but it is a reality, and the fact is that people then, you know, doubts are raised in the public of whether this is accurate, or, you know, is there science really there? And the fact is that, you know, all you got to do is look around at the weather. I mean, the intensity of hurricanes that Florida and every place else are seeing. Tornadoes are increasing in 200-mile-an-hour winds. Sea levels are rising astronomically.
You know, Stuart, Sarasota did an interesting thing a while back. They put up a sign down near the water. How much is sea level rise expected to get at this place here? But the city itself has come under some criticism in terms of spending public money to do things like that. So if, to the general public who are watching this, who may agree or disagree, what would you point for them to look at in our own hometown in order the impact of sea level rise and climate change now?
Well, other than the insurance bill that I mentioned earlier, which, you know, for me at least, is a big chunk of change. I think it's the fact that these things are probably going to happen in episodic and catastrophic ways. I mean, I have neighbors in Key Largo, in the Keys, who said, oh, you know, global change, there's no such thing as global warming. And they didn't protect their homes properly last fall. Some of them lost those homes because of the hurricane that came through. These things are going to come, and they're going to come and bite us, and it's going to be very unpleasant indeed.
Frank?
Just again to illustrate the change, if you go back to the 2008 election, one of the first commercials that ran in the general election was one where one of the candidates said that they were standing up to the Bush administration and calling them out for not taking climate change serious enough. And that was John McCain, the Republican candidate. Fast forward to 2012, while Romney got quiet, actually at one point he was pretty proud of his climate change action plan when he was the governor of Massachusetts. We move now to 2016, 17 candidates, 17 primary candidates, major primary candidates on the Republican side, and not a one thought that you should take climate change seriously.
Dick, when you look at our politics right now, people voted for Donald Trump for a reason, because he spoke to many middle-class voters, and that's why people voted for him. That's why he's president today. But you look at the EPA now, and all you hear coming out from the administration is in terms of rolling back EPA rules and regulations. They claim that you can protect the environment, but not burden environment, companies at the same time here. Hey, this is what we voted for.
Well, it's just not true. And the fact is that the EPA was set up back in 1970 under a Republican president, President Nixon, in order to safeguard the environment and do, in terms of toxic waste. I mean, we had terrible air in those years, much worse than it is today. And now you've got a guy in there, Scott Pruitt, and at that agency, Rick Perry at Department of Energy, they basically want to destroy their own agencies. I mean, that's their purpose. That's why they came in. Donald Trump comes in as president saying that climate change is a hoax invented by the Chinese. I mean, to me, this is madness. I know that a lot of people don't quite see the reality of it, but if we're going to look at the future and what's going to happen to our kids and our grandkids, I mean, that's really what we got to be thinking about in terms of facts like Florida. In not too long a time, if temperature rises to 3 degrees centigrade, which most scientists are predicting it will, that means Miami and the bottom third of Florida is going to basically be underwater. And that's what people have got to start thinking about.
I spend a lot of time in China. And if the Chinese think it's a hoax, then they're doing some very funny things. They are the world leaders in solar panels, and they're world leaders in wind. They're putting a lot of their resources in getting out of fossil fuels. And that, to me, suggests that they understand very clearly what the direction is.
But Franken, we have less than a minute left here. We have a midterm election coming up here. Governor Scott is running for the U.S. Senate. You know, he has banned state employees from even using the word climate change. But how likely do you think, you are the political scientist here, that that's really going to have any impact on that election?
It will be one of many issues, I think, that drive the blue wave. But will climate change come up in the talking points in that election between Nelson and Rick Scott? No, neither one of them are going to talk about it.
Okay, we have to take a quick break, and we'll be back for final thoughts in a moment. Stay with us.
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
Want to know a secret? If you're looking for the best selection of area rugs at an unbelievable price, the only place you need to look is Rugs' Art. I know what you're thinking. Expensive, right? Wrong. Rugs' Art has the largest selection of area rugs on the west coast of Florida in a variety of styles, with 8x11 area rugs starting at $199. Largest selection, personalized service, and unbelievably low prices. You'll find it all at Rugs' Art.
Rugs as Art, Sarasota's only area rug superstore.
20 years ago, the moviegoers of Sarasota looked up at the silver screen and wanted something more. And they got exactly what they wanted. 20 years of some of the best independent films from around the world. The most iconic Hollywood stars walking the red carpet. The most glamorous parties in Southwest Florida. 20 years building up to the most exciting announcement in, well, 20 years. At the Sarasota Film Festival, April 13th to the 22nd.
My credit score was not that great.
I didn't understand what went into my credit score.
It was overwhelming.
Do you want to attain better credit health but don't know where to start? Credit Sesame can help by providing you a free credit score.
I love the app. It's so easy to use. It's like having your own financial coach.
Credit Sesame broke my credit score down into things that I understood, and it made me think, I can do this.
And the awesome thing about Credit Sesame, it's free.
It's 100% free.
You don't need to go it alone. Get started today at creditsesame.com.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
And our guest joining us right now for final thoughts. And Stuart, I'm going to start with you. I mean, you're involved in this symposium that's going to be taking place in Sarasota tomorrow, but on one hand, although what you're saying is really interesting, I would imagine that the people who go there are interested in this topic. What would you say, other than the insurance premium aspect, which plays to the hearts of everybody who has a wallet, for folks who will write into this show afterwards and say that, you know, it's all fake and made up stuff?
I think those people should think, when they go to see their physician, do I take that person's view because he or she is an expert? Or do I go to a quack who's going to sell me snake oil? And if they choose the latter, they're probably going to die. Much the same is true with all science. We're living in a political environment where science has become just another opinion. That's a disastrous thing for us to be doing as Americans.
Dick, you write in your book about the big money interests out there and the companies and the people who are responsible, who don't want the most to be done about climate change. Who is winning the money battle here in terms of being able to spend the money to influence public opinion?
Well, I think right now the big corporations are winning the battle. But, you know, the fact is that Florida, the Sunshine State, has tremendous potential economically for solar power, and it's just not happening. The utilities, my understanding is, control basically the electrical grid and are not supporting solar, and because natural gas and coal make a lot of money. But I think that's certainly something that can be much stronger emphasized.
Frank, you know, I walk around our neighborhood. I have neighbors who have solar panels up on their homes right now, and I remember talking to Yogi Goswami, who's one of the world's foremost experts on solar power at USF, who noted to me that in the 1970s and 80s, solar power, Florida was the headquarters for the solar industry until Ronald Reagan became president. The solar panels came down from the White House, and the tax breaks went away.
It's surprising that we call ourselves the Sunshine State. We have not been very friendly in terms of our solar policy, but it is an area that, for everything that I said in terms of, again, pessimism on the political side, I do think this is an issue where there are a number of things that we can do policy-wise, that if we can just make some ground up, I think economically they do make a lot of sense, and so we could see some traction going forward.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us tonight. FYI, you can watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. We want to thank our guest, Dr. Stuart Pym, an ecologist at Duke University, Dick Russell, the author of The Horsemen of the Apocalypse, a book about climate change, and Frank Alcock, a political science professor and environmental expert at New College. When we return, we'll have a final look at your first alert weather. Plus, President Trump's personal attorney, Michael Cohen, was in court today. You'll never guess who else that Cohen represents.
Did you know you could get life insurance in just a few minutes? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with just a single phone call, and you cannot be turned down for any reason. Even if you have health problems or are living on a fixed income, TruStage guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance policies could work for you. TruStage cares for you the same way you care for your family. In fact, TruStage policies are already protecting over 18 million Americans. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
My mom didn't have life insurance and the cost all fell on me. And that's expensive. We're still paying for that.
Yeah, we're still paying for that.
Call 1-800-809-8372 now. Any amount of protection can help, and you are guaranteed to be accepted. In just a few minutes, you can help prepare your family with protection amounts up to $25,000. There are no medical tests or health questions. And remember, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Getting life insurance can be fast and easy, and it could cost less than you think. Plus, your price will never increase, and your benefit will never decrease.
When I leave, everything will be taken care of for them.
Call 1-800-809-8372 now for a free, no-obligation quote. It's fast and easy. Plus, you get TruStage's 30-day satisfaction guarantee. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-809-8372 today.
Now your ABC7 First Alert Weather Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Well, the surf's up all day today, causing rip current advisories, small craft, as well as high surf advisories all day long. Those are soon to expire as the sea state starting to calm a little bit. Those winds are starting to come down. A chilly start to Tuesday. Talked about that earlier. We're talking temperatures almost 10 to 15 degrees below average, upper 40s inland east of the interstate. And then a warmer Wednesday ahead, though. We'll see highs back to where they belong in the low 80s and then mid to upper 80s after that. Another front is due to arrive late Sunday and into Monday. Right now, timing still not right pinpointed at this point, but we'll see how things play out over the next couple of days. Well, for this evening's weather, we'll see fair skies, but with a little bit of a breeze and temperatures down in the low to mid 60s by 11. It will feel a little bit cool out there. 67 right now. Under fair skies, winds out of the west-northwest at 13, the pressure 30.09 inches. Currently, again, we'll go over it again, 30.09 inches on the barometer. Well, tomorrow's forecast looks good. We'll see high temperatures rebound back into the mid to upper 70s. Just a few fair weather cumulus clouds around in the afternoon, but all in all, lots of sunshine. Different story. It hasn't been sunny at all into Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, all the way into New York and Pennsylvania. In fact, this upper level low, which is a huge upper level low, bringing snowfall all the way down in the mountains of Tennessee and North Carolina tonight. That is all moving off to the northeast, so now rain in New York will change over to snow. And they're not done yet. There's another snowstorm headed in that direction. So I mentioned the snowfall into Pennsylvania, New York, into eastern portions of Ohio. That's into the early morning hours on Tuesday. And then here comes Wednesday, another snowstorm. Little clipper moves through Iowa, southern Wisconsin, even into Chicago. Yes, they're going to get some snowfall there. It's not going to be a lot, but will eventually track toward Vermont, New Hampshire, and New York on into Thursday and Friday with another storm developing here. This is the one which will eventually bring us that front, and cold front looks like due to arrive, as I mentioned, late on Sunday and into Monday at this point. It could be another night or another day of some showers and storms then. Temperatures right now 30s in places like Ottawa, Buffalo, Toronto, 48 in Omaha, and 73 in Billings, though. They're getting 72, warmer in Denver now, 72 degrees there, Dallas at 81, 77 in Houston, and the current temp 53 in Atlanta. Well, as far as the forecast goes for highs tomorrow, it'll still be cool in places like Chicago and Minneapolis and Detroit in the low 40s there, 38 in Cleveland, 37 in Toronto, a bit warmer in Boston at 51, and really starting to warm up over the southern plain states into Dallas, 87 degrees. So for boaters, north winds tomorrow, 5 to 10 knots. We'll start the day off picking up a bit, 15 knots in the afternoon. Seas running 2 to 4 feet, so still a bit of a moderate chop out there due to the strong winds that we have had today. The water temperature at 74. The beaches will see a high right around 74 degrees after a pretty cool start, and the UV index will be at 10 tomorrow with lots of sunshine in the mix. Well, the 7-day forecast then calling for things to rebound temperature-wise, 77 in the afternoon on Tuesday. Then we'll warm in the low 80s, which is normal on Wednesday, mid-80s Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday. That chance for rain on Sunday comes in the afternoon and evening, picks up a bit, 50% chance for showers and storms on Monday. We'll keep an eye on that to see if that becomes a first alert weather day. Al will be back with primetime headlines right after this.
Set your course for a waterfront lifestyle on Florida's last private island. Discover one particular harbor by Margaritaville. Nearby sugar sand beaches are as easy to find as the warm Florida sunshine. Waterfront residences from the high 400s overlook beautiful Anna Maria Sound. And a new marina with direct access to the Gulf of Mexico. Plus, incredible savings on move-in-ready homes. Come tour designer models today. Visit ophmintousa.com now.
When money's tight and emergencies arise, CashNetUSA.com is available 24/7 to deliver quick loans for approved customers when they need it the most.
Apply now at CashNetUSA.com.
Money's on the way with CashNet USA.
So I kind of grew up all across the country. I come from 5 generations of military men. My dad is still active duty. My grandpa is retired Marines. I like going for runs with my dog. I love, taking her out to the dog beach over in Venice. There are so many things here to do on the Suncoast. My goal every day when I come into work at ABC7 is to tell your stories, give you that major local news and those details that you really care about. I'm Jacqueline Matter, and I'm here for you.
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com for Chef Judy's favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
Checking primetime headlines, President Trump's personal attorney Michael Cohen was in court this afternoon after the FBI raided his home, his office, and hotel room last week. He also came face to face with Stormy Daniels, the porn star who claims to have had an affair with Trump. ABC's Elizabeth Herr is outside the federal courthouse with more on why the president's personal lawyer was ordered to appear in court today.
President Trump's personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, headed into court saying nothing to reporters. Cohen in court today after he and his attorneys were ordered to hand over a list of clients so the judge can determine what evidence federal investigators will be allowed to review. New tonight, it was revealed the one previously unnamed client of Cohen was Fox News host Sean Hannity. He issued a swift response.
I never received an invoice from Michael. I never paid legal fees to Michael, but I have occasionally had brief discussions with him about legal questions about which I wanted his input and perspective. And I assume that those conversations were attorney-client confidential.
Porn star Stormy Daniels, while not a party to Cohen's hearing today, also in court as a spectator.
My attorney and I are committed to making sure that everyone finds out the truth.
According to court documents, Cohen has been under investigation for months, with federal investigators looking into possible secret deals Cohen may have made. In addition to that $130,000 he paid Daniels just before the 2016 election to stay quiet about her alleged affair with Trump in 2006. The White House has denied the alleged affair. So the ruling today, Cohen and Trump's request denied, and prosecutors can begin to examine the seized documents. But the judge said in the name of fairness, she did leave open the possibility of the use of an independent party down the road. Reporting outside the federal courthouse in Manhattan, Elizabeth Herr, ABC News.
President Trump is slamming former FBI Director James Comey. How else but by Twitter? Trump took to Twitter today accusing Comey and former Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe of committing many crimes. Trump tweeted, "Comey drafted the crooked Hillary exoneration long before he talked her into lying to Congress, then based his discussion on poll numbers. Disgruntled, he, McCabe, and the others committed many crimes." Trump's comments follow Comey's interview last night on ABC News. Comey is promoting his new book, A Higher Loyalty, in which he declares the president morally unfit to lead the nation. According to the Government Accountability Office, some high-tech office upgrades for the head of the Environmental Protection Agency violate federal law. Scott Pruitt's addition of a soundproof booth and removal of a closed-circuit camera system resulted in a hefty $43,000 price tag. It follows a string of revelations about Pruitt's excessive spending at the agency, including first-class travel, the first EPA's head for 24/7 security. It is not clear what consequences, if there may be. You may not know R. Lee Ermey's name, but you know and you probably recognize his face and voice. Ermey, who starred as the fiery drill sergeant in the film Full Metal Jacket, died yesterday. In addition to appearing in other movies like Dead Man Walking and Seven, Ermey also did voiceover work, even lending his voice to the Toy Story films, appropriately Sarge. The Kansas native served in the Marine Corps for 11 years. In 2002, he received an honorary promotion. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Good night.